Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing, and I'm your host, Celeste. And today's conversation is about identity, specifically what happens when identity is nurtured early and what happens when it's not. Somewhere along the way, many of us learn how to perform before we learn how to listen to ourselves. We learn who to be, who to please, who to become, often before we ever even learned who we actually were. And for so many little girls, that disconnect starts very young. This episode is an exploration of why it matters, very deeply, that girls are given language for who they are before the world hands them expectations and fears and their roles. This is about why remembering yourself early can become a form of protection, and why imagination and creativity and self-trust aren't luxuries, they are foundations. My guest today is C. Park, a children's author and a founder of Lucy's Corner, a heart-centered storytelling platform dedicated to helping children reconnect with their inner light. Her debut children's book, Celeste Is a invites readers young and old to conquer fear through imagination and remembering who they are at their core. Conchetta brings her work into local bookstores, daycares, and schools, creating spaces where children can explore courage, creativity, and self-belief in a way that feels safe and expansive. This is a conversation about confidence, self-trust, and the quiet power of knowing yourself before the world gets too loud. So let's dig in. Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, C. Park.
Hi.
All right. Well, let's just jump right in because I'm so excited to hear your story. And I know I was remarking to you before the show that this is just so fitting because when I was growing up, there was nothing ever that had my name on it. And so to have this be something that just came in my email box, to have you pop in and be like, I have a book and it's called Celeste Is a icing on the cake.
Yes. I love how I was just telling you before, it's very aligned, how I even came about to use Celeste as the main character's name. And then how the book all came together. It was really very cool and divine.
Well, let's get into that story.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you came up with Celeste and why this story started.
Yeah. So it took me about 5 years to create this book. I felt like I had a message that I wanted to get out. And a good friend of mine had a baby shower, and she said she didn't want any um, gifts. She just wanted children's books. So I went into Barnes and Nobles, and I was in there for 3 hours. And I like cried. Some of the books, they were just so touching, for young children, to encourage them. And I also I did substitute teach kindergarten for a little bit. So story time was always a very connective moment. So I just got inspired to do this book and to write this book to get my message out. And I was out to dinner with my family one day, and the server came and she said her name was Celeste. And I said, that's it. That's it.
That is amazing. Okay. It's funny because I always ask if like someone's like, oh, I know a Celeste, like my sister's name is Celeste. And I'm like, wow, you never meet one in the wild. And so it's really cool when you do.
Yeah. Yes. It is a unique name, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm very curious because this book is about tell us what the book is about.
So it's about conquering fear, and it's about using your imagination, your creativity, and remembering who you are to conquer fear. There's also an element in the book where her friends, it also is a message to support those who are fearful, your friends, or, if you're not fearful of a certain thing, how important it is to just support and community for those who have fear around something, and we can be encouraging.
I love this message. So, how did this come to you? Because obviously, we all have our own fears in real life, whether it's having to pay certain bills or have a conversation with somebody that we really don't want to have. What was the catalyst? I know that you said that you were looking for a book, but obviously there's something that's a little deeper for you to remind people of this. So how did it start?
Yes, it's very much my personal journey. So, I worked in fashion for about 10 years in New York, and some life events happened. And I'm from Philadelphia, so I had to move back to Philadelphia. And I thought, okay, what's next for me, career wise? So I got into real estate. I'm a realtor, and it was going from more of a corporate situation where, I had a salary to now I'm in this entrepreneurial stage. And that was a huge adjustment. So, um, all the things that being an entrepreneur has taught me, the fears, the feeling of security, believing in yourself is a main one. And I'm also creative. So I wanted a creative outlet. So I thought, how can I mesh my worlds together? And then, I have people in my life that inspire me. So it kind of came to creating this book and my experience of conquering my own fear and how I got to that point.
That is so fitting. I'm very curious. Okay, because all of us have this imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Before you launched the book and you were getting ready and preparing for it, how did that feel?
Felt actually really good. It felt good.
Really?
I did have those natural nervousness where created something from your heart and soul, and then you're putting it out there for people to judge or to have an opinion. Will they get it? Will people like it? Um, will the children respond to it? Is the message getting delivered properly? So I did think of those things, but again, through my journey, I learned that this was something I had to get out. And no matter who thought it was great or not great, I did it for me. And whoever the message is for, it will reach them.
That's exactly how I feel about this podcast too, right? It does not have to have a massive following. Like if you check your Amazon book numbers, right? Like even if it's five, you're happy that those five people got touched.
S- I'm happy if one got touched.
Or just even you, like getting it out of yourself
Yes.
and putting it on paper and having that creative moment is enough.
Yes. And I believe all of us are here and we come here to create something, whether that's life, a business, a community, um, dinner tonight for someone you love. Like positive thoughts, negative thoughts, like we're just constantly creating. And I do believe it's just part of all of our wellness to continue to create. So this was just something that I just had a message I wanted to get out. I do love children. Again, I love that story time. And I created a platform for my book called Lucy's Corner. And it's very new, but it's the idea of encouraging confidence and um, wellness in children through creativity, being creative, drawing, dancing, music, all of the arts, and how to collaborate with others for children.
I love that because we're teaching kids at a very young age that that's important. And these are things that you come across in your like normal work, a corporate job where you're like, okay, now you have to collaborate and share with people. So, I had a question around it. Let me find it. Why imagination and curiosity? Like, why is it such a powerful antidote to fear?
Feel our imagination sometimes is our true self. If you were to take away the pressures of life, the pressures of paying bills, the pressures of creating a company, parents, children, friends, spouses, if you could just be and have none of that to worry about, you know, what is that in your mind? And who are you? And as a child, I always was daydreaming. And even to this day, I daydream about a lifestyle I want. I daydream about a company that I want to create, or um, how my businesses operate. And, it could be a party I want to throw for a friend. It's just constantly kind of daydreaming. And then I try to see, okay, how can I have that manifest itself into reality? So I think in children, they're kind of unbiased. They're a little more pure. They don't have, the pressures and the societal understandings that we grow to as adults. And so when you see them playing, which is a form of learning, or making mistakes and getting back up and trying it again, or, art time, or, the boogeyman in their closet, or, just that magical world from children actually really inspire me in my own adult life to never stop daydreaming or imagination or being creative in my own life.
I feel like that's beautiful. That's so beautiful how you describe that. Do you feel like after you left your corporate job that that became more real for you? Because a lot of us forget what it's like to daydream, right? Or to be a child and to have that play aspect in our life.
Yeah. I actually felt relieved once I left. It was scary, but there's something about when the weight gets lifted off of you, because I had a lot of pressures there. There were a lot of things going on, and I think everyone in some area of their life at some point, when something is not working, you reach a point, and it kind of pushes you sometimes in the direction that you should be going, but it has to get kind of chal extremely challenging for you to make that move sometimes. So that was the position that I was in. So once I left, I said, "Okay, this is great. Even though this is scary, I don't know what the next move is, and I'm going into the unknown," as I've heard you speak about in your other shows. Um, yeah, it was a give and take.
I feel like that is almost the most necessary part of your life. And it's the most uncomfortable, right? But it's filled with the most blessings
Yes.
because there's this quote in a book by Brianna Weiss that I love so much. It's in A Mountain Is You. And when you're white knuckling life so hard and you're trying to control everything, you cannot comprehend what the world has in store for you. And the world almost nudges you into a place where it's like, okay, you can't do this anymore. You're hurting yourself and you have to let go. And then all of a sudden, this whole world opens up in front of you and you're just in awe of the beauty of it.
Yes. And there's a certain part of my book that alludes to, you have all the answers inside, and it's really all going to work out at some point, you know.
But it's like trusting
Yeah.
that. And you can't get to that place until you've like teased it or it's teased you, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Because if you don't see that something can be a certain way, you're going to trust the comfort zone more than the unknown, even if it's painful.
Yes. And even through those times, even to this day, things like your podcast, platforms out there, a place where if someone is in a difficult space or trying to make a decision or is stuck creatively, or that you have, which is so great, these platforms that you have a place to go to that reminds you, because I've had some amazing people in my life that during those times encouraged me. My family encouraged me, my friends, my cosmic family, as I call them, were there to remind me, of what's important and who we
That
are as people, and furthermore who we are as women.
I love that you have that support
Mhm,
network because that is the biggest thing.
mhm.
Um, and part of the reason why I moved from Phoenix halfway across the world all the way up to here to Washington, because when you recognize that you don't have that support system and nobody's cheering for you, they're just cheering for the version of you that you've created, it feels so empty. But then when you have the people that you've surrounded yourself by that know you to your core and you're like, yeah, no, Celeste, you can do this. You're like, yeah, I can.
Yep. Yeah. Um, and there are times maybe you don't have that support, and that's why I say these type of conversations and these platforms are really important, because it's a place for those who may not have that support can go to, and who can hear the messages. Um, and at the end of the day, you have to do it. Yeah.
You do. And I think that's why your book is so cool, right? Because your like children don't know necessarily that their feelings um or what's being suppressed or what they're scared of is is not a big deal,
Yeah.
right? And we can support them. And I'm curious. So why do you think that it's so important to tell little girls or all children, right, who they are before the world tells them who to be?
I I made a book that I wish I had.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, yes. Um, all of these things I learned at this age, and it took me my whole journey to get here to even be at this point. So I think the earlier the better. And if those things were instilled in me, and I saw also diversity representation, um, that was important to me in my book as well. And just hearing, because I was a creative child and I did have big emotions as a child, but didn't necessarily know how to process them. And I think most children have big emotions, and um, they can't always communicate it efficiently, so that the adults around them can help them. So I feel like, as we were speaking about earlier, we're in a really awesome time, I feel like, because we're starting to be awakened. We're starting to maybe parent differently than our parents parent us. I feel like we're more into wellness for ourselves. We're realizing we're healing, and so this is a really great time for parents who are on that journey themselves. Like I said, I didn't really get here until this age. So, you know, everyone being on their own journeys, and more conversations are coming up, that we can have a book for the children too. And we can go through the journey with our children together as we learn, and we're doing things differently, and we want to um, parent differently, and we understand how important self-trust is, and your intuition, and listening to those things, and taking a break when you need to, not over trying to overachieve so much. Like, we know these things now, that we're nurturing that in the children today, which is different than when we were children.
Absolutely. And I was hoping that the awakening or the awareness would come back around
Yeah.
because it's so true, right?
Hmm.
All of these things that I'm learning today, I seriously wish I had when I was 10
Yes.
because it wouldn't have hurt so much to be a child,
Yeah.
right? You never know if you're going to get bullied or made fun of
Yeah.
or whatever it is. and just to be confident in who you are. And like, I love wearing bright colored clothes. So just doing that as a child, I would have been terrified. I had to wear exactly what everyone else wore. And if I could have shown who I was, I would be thousands of light years ahead of where I am
Yes.
today. But the cool thing is, um, I was thinking about this with a friend. So your first years, like 0 through 20, we'll call it, right, are very, um, whoever is in your life, right? Your parents, your teachers, your like peers at school are what shapes who you are up until that point. And then you kind of go off into the real world and you start to transform and learn things about life. And so if we're technically going to say that we live to 80, I'm not even halfway there yet, or I'm almost halfway there. And with the knowledge that I have right now and the beauty that my life is, I get another, we'll call it 30 good years living like this. Holy cow, I haven't even lived that long to like really understanding what I know now. And it is just amazing because I'm just going to keep learning and building upon that. So if you could do that from a very young age and have that knowledge and keep building on top of it, can you imagine how peaceful and blissful life could be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My thoughts exactly. So I just like to I have a plan to write more books that encourage these things, that do it through talent. I really love the arts, and I really love I just believe everyone is creative, and let's just collaborate and create and continue to create, because that helps the spirit, it helps the mind, it helps wellness to get through difficult things in life. You know, the arts are there for us, the music, the creativity, the ideas.
I love that, especially when, because as kids, like you said, we have big emotions and sometimes we don't know how to explain it,
Mhm.
but it speaks through us when we can play an instrument or sing or do art, and all of that just comes out in color.
Yeah. Or kids, they pretend play. I mean, they're at the park. Let's pretend, you're a fireman and we're gonna, I don't know, go in the park. But it's really healthy. And we lose that. We really do as adults. And not that we have to all, act like crazy in the park, but I think it's to remember that part of ourselves. Because who's that little girl in you? Who's that little boy? That little girl and that little boy never go away inside of us deep down.
Mhm.
That child,
Yeah,
the innocence,
that's so
the
true.
freedom, the anything's possible. You know, you're smart, you are all knowing.
So, if you take your own advice and you say that anything is possible and you embrace your own inner light, what is possible for you?
Um, Reaching what is possible for me, growing Lucy's Corner, collaborating with more people like yourself or other products or services that have the same mission, and getting more stories out there and learning people's journeys, because everyone's journey and experience brought them to this point, and everyone has something to share. In the beginning of this, I was discouraged a bit from people within the publishing industry because they said the children's book industry was saturated. Um, and I just thought, you can't have enough books. I don't think you could ever have enough books, and everyone has a different story on fear. I wrote my book on fear, but your story of fear is different than mine. And those stories need to continue to be told for forever and ever. And I think there's enough room, because no two people are the same. No two people have the same experience. No two people process or get the same lesson, even out of a same experience. And so all of those things are valuable when you can come out on the other side and give your testimony and say what your journey was like to get here, and to encourage and inspire others to get through it. And
I love that. I had like,
I never get tired of hearing someone's journey and cheering for them and being so proud, like, you conquered it. It was hard, but you made it through.
I had so many thoughts during that. during the-
Great.
it's just so fun
Yeah.
because, yeah, I love that thought too. And the idea that, I mean, we're going to read thousands of books in our lifetime, right?
Sure.
You're not just going to read the same book over and over and over again. You might go back and revisit the ones that you loved. And kids do that, right?
Yes.
They're like, let's read this one again. But the fact that there are so many people out in this world and we all have our different experiences, that one book might speak to one of them, whereas the other one might not, and they won't enjoy it.
Totally.
So, yeah, that's why I love this. And that's half the fun too, is like, we're not for everyone, right? There are going to be people that you absolutely love. 10 out of 10, I want this person in my life. And then you're going to have the people that are 1 out of 10. I'm okay. I met you. We're good.
Yeah.
Same thing with books and stories, right? Like those stories might resonate with you and you might say, oh my gosh, me too. This is exactly how I feel.
Mhm.
Or you might hear somebody's story and be like, okay, interesting. There's this one tidbit I'm going to take away and I'll use it to help me in my path. But,
Yes. And I think that's the purpose of life. I think that's what we come here for, to share, to learn, to create. This is what we're doing here, every day. And we're meeting people and we're doing these things. And we're to take a tidbit from you and a tidbit from him and to enrich our own lives. And I do the same. It's
Mhm.
just this give and take and this around and around we go. And that's what we came here to do.
What I also find very interesting is that you can take something at different points in your life. Like for me, it's Gilmore Girls. I watch it way too much. But every time that I watch it, and I've probably seen it maybe 30 times through, it's a little disgusting. But when I see another episode, I'm like, oh, this is actually fitting for where I am right now in my life. And 5 years ago, it might not have had the same resonance. And so people and books are the same way, where you might remember a story that somebody told you 10 years later and be like, oh, wow, that actually fits me now. And that makes total sense. But you hadn't gone through you needed to yet to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I hope that this book that you've written and multiple more, right?
Yes.
Do that for other people, that it's something that they can pick up and be like, oh, I remember my parents reading this to me when I was little, and then it still
Mhm.
applies.
Yes.
Yeah.
They call it evergreen, when a story and a message is just, forever.
I love that.
And what I love is that, you know, where we are now in society, I mean, we can say a lot of things and people have opinions. Oh, it's terrible, it's worse, it's all falling apart, we're in trouble. But I really choose to see that breakdown as an opportunity. Like I said, people are being awakened. People, their wellness is becoming more important to them. We're starting to really see, who we are, and we need to start taking care because things are breaking down or whatever's happening. And to be able, um, to take children's books. I mean, I know they're for children, but I learned from them. The book, the message in the books to me and helping me. So I love how the parents can read the book and also get something out of it all the time.
This ties back to your mantra, your favorite quote right now, which is, we are here to create. It is part of our wellness. So tell me a little bit how this creation has saved you or made you a little bit more well.
Yes, I have a very good friend of mine who she quotes, um, when you heal a woman, you heal a nation.
Mm.
And I think about that because it got me to thinking, when I heal, whatever traumas I deal with, whether it's not feeling good enough or I can't do something or I don't have enough of this. And when I conquer that, I help my mom, I help my dad, I help my sister, I help my friends, everyone around me. Um, as a woman, we are the creators of life, whether you have children or not. Um, we have certain skills that men do not, and I'm very empowered by that. I'm very empowered by the possibility of just creation and the ability to create. And so I just think that's what we're here to do. Um, whatever it is. I mean, when I finish here, I'm gonna go make some lunch and I'm gonna create a meal and I'm gonna think of something and I'm just gonna put it together based on what I want to eat. People who are really good cooks do that. People who enjoy cooking, or gardening, or caring for animals, or you know, I just believe at the end of the day, no matter what's going on out there in the world, that is the purpose of being here, no matter
I
what.
absolutely love that.
And so the challenge is to find what that is for you. What makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing? And find a way to just do that. Lucy's Corner and my book is something that I do. I don't do that for a living. I do it because I want to do it. I would love for it to become something where I make a living from that. But I'm a realtor in Philadelphia, and that's what I do. And although I do enjoy my job, if it were up to me, I would be on a beach and doing nothing but writing children's books all day long. And so I remember that. And that gets me through all the hard times, all the family things, all the financial constraints that come, all of the personal fears that I have. Is it good enough? Can I do it? Whatever we deal with. I go back to that place of like, this is just when I feel good when I'm doing this.
You love all of that. I think that is a wonderful place to leave it as well.
Yeah.
So how can people find your book?
On Amazon. Celeste Is.
So I'll drop the link then.
Yes, and I have a
Okay.
image of the book here.
Yes. Okay. I'm definitely buying one because I need more literature with my name in it on my shelf.
Yes. Yes, and thank you so much for having me. This was just such a great conversation to be able to speak and have these really important conversations about our real wellness, because that's who we truly are, not any of this other stuff, I believe.
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.